And this will look really weird when you first apply it, so don't freak out. Then you'll blend it and it'll look awesome. So rather than doing kind of like that circle, it's not gonna look as good as if you do like a full on like triangle under the eye. Open up. Look up for me real quick. Look up. Yeah. Next step would be the foundation. We kind of just work with foundation sticks because they're easy and they mimic the look of skin, so you're not having to deal with like liquid if you're going to like different dance competitions and traveling. So we just do kind of like a stick form, kind of like rake across. And you know, you want to match it slightly lighter than your natural hair color. That way it doesn't go on too heavy. Okay. So there's two basic shadow brushes you can use to make any eye makeup look awesome. Kind of like one that looks like a traditional paintbrush, and that's what you use to blend. And then we also have one that's kind of just packs on the color. It's more of just like a flat, kind of rounded. So we're gonna start with this color, and this is what goes from the lashes to the crease line. So lashes up to like maybe where the eyeball ends under the skin. You know how it starts to kind of like dip right here. And Bobbi shadows are kind of meant to just be like dabbed in, like pressed in. So if you do that, it goes on and blends perfectly, and you're not gonna have to sit there and like blend it out. So the big thing with this look is keeping that lid like super light and bright, because again, from far away, it's gonna look really fresh and awake, and then we'll go in with that dark color to define it. So same thing on this side. If you get a hard line like up on the top part of the crease, you can take this magic brush and blend it, just dry blend with nothing on it. So this is kind of like your eraser. If you're not getting the look that you want, you can sit there and kind of just like blend any edges. I think that's the big thing with makeup that makes it look kind of like too much, is when it's not blended. Next step is gonna be highlighting. So that's gonna be like your lightest color in your palette. And I think the big thing with highlighting is you don't want super shimmery up on the brow line, because it looks kind of weird with lighting. So this will be more of like a matte color, so that means there's no like pearl texture to it. And this looks best on most eye shapes, like inner corner and then like up under that eyebrow.
Say that again, sorry.
So this little guy's gonna be like your lightest color. And you wanna take kind of a fluffy brush because you don't wanna pack a lot of this on. And you're gonna put it like inner corner. See how that makes her eye just look really fresh? And then you're gonna pop it like up under the brow line with what's left on the brush. And you wanna do that with more of a fluffy brush so you're not packing on a ton. So we'll do the same thing to the other side. So when you're doing that highlight on the inner corner, it's almost like to the bridge of the nose. And you wanna do like little circular motions to get it to blend on that inner corner. And the big thing too with, especially with if you have some of the Bobbi colors, they do have a lot of pigment, so you know you want to barely just dunk your brush. You can always layer more; it never cakes. But you want to use just as little as possible to start. So again, just little circular motions with what's left on the brush. You're going to go right under that eyebrow. Next step, you want to think of it kind of like as a bunch of shapes you're placing on and blending out. So we have like a half circle here. We have an arc here. And then we're gonna do like a little V, like a greater than and less than sign in that outer corner with your deepest shade. So you're gonna grab your darker gray that you got. I think it was called smoke or cement. Yeah, slate, sorry. All the names are kind of similar. So that little guy, again, you can take your fluffier brush. If you feel, you know, pretty confident with makeup, you can take a smaller brush and you're literally gonna draw like a little V. When she looks straight ahead, the V should go no further in than the iris, where the iris starts. So it's like the white of the eye. If you pull it in further, it kind of closes the eye in and looks raccoony, which is not what we want. We want like a really clean, classic look. So let's get this going. So you can see I'm doing a V into the lashes and then in the crease line. And keep in mind, this will look totally horrible when you apply it, and then back to blending. It's all about just getting that shape in, and then you blend it out. So you can dry blend with your fluffy brush. You don't really have to blend the whole thing, just the edges you see. So it's gonna be more like kind of that edge that's going into the crease. So again, we're still keeping that lid like really light and bright, and then that corner is where we're getting that frame and that crisp, beautiful classic look. So I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Again, think like greater than and less than sign. That'll kind of help keep it. Just reading into those lashes, and then into the crease. Next up is liner. Do you guys typically do like pencil or liquid? We did a pencil, I think, right? Yeah. So the liner for this look is kind of that classic. It goes really thin, and you can let it get thicker as it goes out to that outer corner. The big trick is kind of, if you're doing it on your daughter, then, you know, of course she's going to close and that flattens the lid. If you do your own makeup, you can actually set a mirror by your tummy so you can like look down and then just drag the pencil straight across. But I think looking like dead on in the mirror, you're having to like curve the pencil and it's a little bit harder. So again, just getting that lid like more flat. So either if you're doing it on yourself, look down and then just go straight across. Or if you're doing it on your daughter, then just have her close and chin up just a little bit and then just again drag straight across. There's kind of a ledge on the lash line that you'll be able to kind of feel, and then you're kind of pressing down as you drag, and the lashes are going to guide that pencil. So what you'll do is you'll start with kind of a skinny line first. And this is kind of a practice makes perfect technique, but once you kind of know the basics of how to just get the eye to sit, it becomes a lot easier. So another trick too, kind of hold her lid if she's like a blinker or crunches her eye. It kind of keeps the eye from crunching up too much where you don't get that like horrible line. So close for me. But I do have a technique if you make a horrible mistake. If we sneeze or flinch or something like that, open up. More into the inner corner. So again, if you hold it the side and just drag, it'll go on so much easier. It's just kind of like getting that posture set, which feels kind of awkward at first. And this is kind of a gel-based pencil, so it should glide on pretty easily. And then once it dries, it's on like literally until she washes her face. It's not coming off. So this one's really good for like longevity, sweating, teary eyes. And you can see I'm like gently holding her lid. That way if she wants to crunch up or blink, she can't do it, or it's not as severe. That's a trick makeup artists do to just kind of get that smooth finish right away. But I will show you a trick if the eyeliner goes on like completely horrible. Actually, I might mess up this eye so you guys can kind of see. And you do want to do the entire lash line. So inner corner all the way back out to the outer corner. This does look really pretty for performance makeup, and it kind of shapes their natural eye shape. So it's just kind of following that natural lash line. Okay, let's say you sneezed. Sneeze! And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got like the most horrible, wretched line, and it's completely messed up. This is smudgeable up to like 60 to 90 seconds. So you do have that time to kind of like smudge it in, make it look soft. If it's dried or you can't figure out how to smudge it, you just lay your darkest shadow a little bit on top of it, and it makes it look like completely perfect. So you can grab kind of like your deepest shade, And then you can just go in directly on top of that wobbly line. And it just completely, it's almost like it erases it, so it kind of just fills in, smooths, that kind of thing. Now again, if you do it on one side, what do we have to do to the other side? You don't want to just like fix that side and then leave this side like blank. Back to symmetry, it's so important. And the best thing again, if you're like, is this symmetrical? Does this look good or blended? Just step back 4 or 5 feet. That's what I do when I do studio work, and that's how I know if it looks perfect or not, is stepping back. It's one of the weirdest things, because up close it'll look good. Then you'll step back and it's like, oh, it's not quite right. So same thing on this side, we're gonna shade, let's say the line is crooked and horrible looking, just right on top. Last step is always mascara. So you're gonna do all the shadows, then you do the liner. Mascara is always last. Waterproof is good, and it's kind of necessary, but in order to keep the lashes in good shape, get a really good, like a shake-up eye makeup remover, so you're not sitting there like scrubbing it off and kind of tearing at the lashes. So anything that has like 2 parts to it will completely dissolve any type of waterproof makeup to where it's kind of protecting the lash. So anything you kind of have to shake up. We make one. I don't really believe in spending a ton on eye makeup remover. You could do like Neutrogena or L'Oreal. The big thing is again getting one with 2 phases to it. I'm bending the brush just because when you do makeup, that kind of helps get it in there. Again, back to blinking. You can get disposable wands like this at like Sally Beauty Supply. The big thing with makeup is never ever share eyeliner or mascara. So you definitely want to just have your own that you're using. If you do share it, then you want to do disposable wands that you only dip once and you never like re-dip with a dirty wand. And you do want to do top and bottom lashes. I think that'll just look really sharp. Especially if you've got a non-super dark black glossy lash, it looks kind of weird to have like a dark top lash and nothing on the bottom. I think the big trick would be doing just like 1 coat on the bottom. And again, back to kind of holding your thumb on the lid gently. It's a brand new mascara. It's nice and like. So another trick too, if you're doing like the top lash and you need time for it to dry, but obviously you're probably having to be very strict with time with getting ready, you can go in and do the blush as like the top lash is drying, or like maybe the lip. And then by the time you're done doing that, she can look up and it won't blink on all that beautiful eye makeup. So that's actually what I'm gonna do here. So we did do the upper lashes, and then we're gonna go in with the blush. This is another thing that's good to have a brush for rather than doing with my fingers. A good blush brush, you just kind of roll it from the side. And you always, you could tap out like on your wrist. Smile really quick. So it's gonna be like kind of through here. And then you're just gonna kind of like pull back. So it's almost kind of like a little oval shape. So you don't want to do it fully on the front because it makes the face it makes you look kind of like uneven. So you want to pop it like more kind of like back, like a little oval. Yeah, it's bright pink. So the trick with this, again, just tap out that brush. That'll kind of safety net you to where you're not using too much. But a good rule of thumb, the more frightening a blush looks in the container, the better it goes on skin. I know, isn't that weird? So those kind of brown muddies, even fair skin. Do you want me to do hers really quick? I can show you. Yeah. Okay. The other trick too, let's say the blush goes on like a huge horrible blotch. You can blend the perimeter, back to blending perimeters and not like the whole thing. Smile. So I think the trick would be just little, small amount. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
So again, if you have a hard time kind of finding the apple, just have her kind of smile. It's that little kind of full part of that cheek, and then you're pulling it back just a little bit. So we don't want to do like an equal sign or like a check mark or a swoosh. You want it to be more just like a little soft oval. And I think that will look like the most natural, but also, you know, define the face really well. So you'll notice I'm kind of first laying that brush on her apple and then just blending back little circular motions. So now that we're done with the blush, we can go into those lower lashes and have her look like totally up. The mascara on that top lash line is dried, so you know, you don't have to worry about any transferring. And again, I probably would recommend more of like a waterproof formula, but just make sure you get a great eye makeup remover. That way she's not having to like tug or scrub really hard to get the mascara off. Just kind of melt it off. Look up. Not too bad, hopefully. If she blinks and you get a little bit on the bottom, my favorite Q-tips in the world are these like, I think they're like medical ones because they're really like tightly wound. So the cotton's not gonna like shed and get all over the place. When it's still damp, you can just go in and clean up. So it's always good to have like some Q-tips on hand for mistakes, or those square sponges to just kind of blend down. If you put too much makeup on, you can use those just dry, kind of blend it off. We do have a blink mark, look up. If the mascara dries, you will have to go in with eye makeup remover, but if it's still damp, you can go in with one of these dry to fix it. And then last step is lip. Woohoo! So these are like super long wearing, non-drying. It's just like a beautiful ballet pink that transfers on any skin tone. It's the most beautiful color. And then a big thing too is matching that cheek to the lip. So that's why we kind of had those two similar tones for the cheek and for the lip. And this, the reason why I thought this would be super helpful is you can line the lip with it and get that beautiful outline, but it's not like a darker color. It's the same tone, and you can just go and fill it in. So open it, look at